Hello everyone, Carol Garrison with Carol's Creative Escape. Thanks for joining me for this week's Thursday tip. Today what I'm going to be doing is focusing on this wonderful tool. It's probably one of my most favorite tools in our catalog, and it's the Stamparatus. It's been around for a couple of years now, and I think it oftentimes gets put on a shelf and people sort of forget what it can do. And so I want to bring it back out and give some tips on using it, because I think it is, like I said, one of the best tools that we have in our catalog. Now, when you order it out of the catalog, what you're going to receive is this platform, which has this grid, and it comes with this black foam piece, and then you get 2 of these plates. Now, yours will not come, of course, with the stamps attached that I have right now, and if you're lucky, it won't come with the cat hair that I seem to have attracted on my black foam pad here. Now, this black pad is great for stamping, especially with our photopolymer stamps. But one of the issues that people have with this is there's no grid lines to see, and so it's hard to line things up. So there is a supplemental mat that can be purchased that is the foam mat on one side, and then it has the grid lines on this side with the ruler on both sides. And I actually as soon as this became available, I went ahead and got it. The other thing that we have that works really well is you can buy this tablet of grid paper, which basically matches up what we've got right here. And it is nice because it is in both metric and in inches. So depending on what part of the world you're in, this is going to work either way. I like to use this because it provides some protection to these pieces. Or again, if you didn't buy the step-up grid, you can lay this down over your black foam and you'll have your grid lines there. And that just helps when you're lining things up. So I still prefer using this piece because it's got a shinier finish, so it's a little easier to clean up afterwards. So generally what I do when I'm getting ready to stamp is I will just take a little bit of my Stamp and Seal and just put a little dab right in the middle here, and I do this so that it will hold my paper in place and I don't have to worry about that shifting. I will usually just take my finger, kind of de-stick it just a little bit, and then I can slide in my sheet of graph paper and that's not going to move. So I can use this sheet to line up my images and that type of thing. Then what I will do is line up my images. Now, the technique that I want to share with you tonight is the step stamping. And that's one of the greatest things available with the Stamparatus. And so I've just got a piece of, I'm not even going to make a card for you tonight. I've just got a piece of cardstock that I'm going to line up. I know where I want my image to start, so I need to keep my paper down just a little bit from the edge of the paper up there. So again, I don't want this moving when my stamp lifts up and down. Sometimes that'll happen. So I'm just going to put a little bit of my adhesive and then I'm going to line it up like this. Now, a lot of people prefer stamping in the middle. I am a corner stamper simply because I want to make sure I get my things lined up right, and that seems to be what helps me do it. It can be different for everyone. So what I've done now is I've lined up this happy birthday greeting, which comes from the Mini Mates stamp set. And you want to look for greetings. The steps that we're going to be doing are 1-inch increments. So you want to look for greetings that are 1 inch or just under that, so that they're not overlapping each other when you're doing your step stamping. So basically what I'm talking about with step stamping, I already got ink on my finger. Good grief. Is I'm just using my spots, my ink spots to ink up. I prefer using those with my Stamparatus because it helps me control a little bit more on the smaller images that I'm working with and not get ink all over everything. So now I can Stamp It Up, and then I'm going to do a step stamp so that I can line up these images all on this side of the paper. And so let's just say, okay, I got interrupted. I stamp it and I realize, oh crud, I needed to re-ink this. I don't have to worry about it. All I can do is come back, ink up that greeting, and go right over my image, and it's lined up perfectly. So you don't ever have to worry about that. That's another, not part of tonight's technique necessarily, but it's one of the advantages of using the Stamparatus. And so I'm just going to keep lifting my plate off and sticking it back into the next groove here so that I'm going down 1 inch. Now the other thing that I want to do is on this fourth, oops, I got a little bit on the edge here, so you do need to be careful about that, but that's all right. That's an opportunity to decorate embellish your design a little bit. One of the things that I do want to do is my fourth image here, I want in a different color. So I'm going to go ahead and skip that step and go right down to my last one. And I'll ink up my image and stamp it down. Okay, and then all I need to do is take my chamois cloth and wipe it off. And in case you're wondering where I get a lot of my ink spots from, there are some select colors that you can order out of the annual catalog, but I save all of the ink spots I get from my paper pumpkin kits, and I just store them in a container that I have labeled by color, and that way I can go and easily grab whatever I need. Plus, if I go on a crafting weekend, if I grab that, I have almost every color available to me. Now this, I can tell I caught that edge too. So I'm going to wipe that off ahead of time, but I inked it up this time using my cherry cobbler. And so easily I can get a perfectly lined up image here. I can switch out colors and my paper's never moving, so everything stays aligned and I don't have to worry about it. Now this technique also works beautifully for floral or for any type of image or shape that you want to do. So I'm going to pull this plate off and I'm going to bring in this flower from the Free as a Bird stamp set and show you just how easily that works as well. So again, I need to put just a dab of adhesive on the back of my cardstock. Whoa. And I'm going to drop it down just a titch, rub it in, and I'm going to stick my plate in. And one thing that sometimes can help too when you're inking up is if you stick a stamp set underneath here, it gives a firm surface for you to work with. So I'm going to just tap ink onto my flower here. I'm going to swing it over. And on this one, I'm going to do my colors every other color. So I'm skipping every other step as I'm working through this. And now I can take my chamois cloth again and I'll clean off the red. And the Stamparatus works exactly the same way, whether you're using a photopolymer or a clear stamp. And I always leave my foam pad in here regardless of which type of stamp I'm using. I find I just get better images with that. I know a lot of things will say the pad is just necessary for the photopolymer. For me, it works better to have both in there all of the time. So here I'm going to stamp in the blue ink and skip a step and come down here, and again I can get that in there. And so I've got flowers lined up. Great for getting borders, creating borders, switching out colors, keeping things aligned. If you're making multiple cards, again, the Stamparatus is really great for that, because you can just keep going, keep going, keep going. And so that's my tip for you tonight with the Stamparatus. My recommendation is that if you do have a Stamparatus available right now, get it out. I have the carrying case that Stampin' Up! Sells as well for my Stamparatus. And I found that if I keep it in that, I actually don't use it. And so I have pulled mine out and I keep it out in the open, and I'm using it so much more. There's so many more things that you can do if you're making multiple cards. You can line your stamps up once, stick your paper in, you'll know exactly where you're going to put it, and you can just do repeat stamps over and over and over, so it can save you a lot of time. It's also great for stamping die cut images or punch cut images. But like I said, if you currently have a Stamparatus, get it out, start using it. If you don't have it, I would really encourage you to include this in your next order with whoever your demonstrator is, because it is an amazing tool for giving you very evenly stamped and or the opportunity to correct images if you don't have enough ink, because you can go back, re-ink it, and your images are going to line up exactly. So there's my tip for tonight. If you like this tip, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel down below, and be sure to check out my blog at www.carolscreativeescape.com and my Facebook group, Carol's Creative Escape Gathering Place. If you like what you're seeing, you think you're learning a few things, ask to join the group. Happy to have you there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, and happy stamping. We will see you again next Thursday with another tip. Have a great week. Bye-bye.